I traced my finger across the society page photograph. My daughter Sophia, radiant in designer clothes, surrounded by Manhattan's elite at the Grand Plaza Hotel's annual charity ball. The caption listed the attending socialites but failed to mention that the hotel's owner was the same woman they deemed too uncultured to join their circle. "Ms. Harrison," my assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. "Your daughter is here for your lunch meeting. Send her in, Rebecca." I slipped the newspaper into my drawer, next to the stack of property deeds and ownership documents that proved I controlled most of their favorite haunts. Sophia breezed in, Hermes scarf trailing elegantly, her entire outfit probably worth more than what her friends assumed I made in a year. The irony, of course, was that her trust fund, which she believed came from her late father's investments, was merely a fraction of my actual wealth. "Mom," she air-kissed my cheek, careful not to smudge her perfect makeup. "This office, have you considered my suggestion about an interior decorator? Madison's mother knows someone divine who cold. I'm comfortable here." I gestured to the chair across from my desk. The office was intentionally modest, just another piece in the carefully constructed image I maintain as a small-time property manager rather than the owner of a vast hospitality empire. "If you say so," she perched on the edge of the chair, eyeing my simple decor with barely concealed disappointment. "About tomorrow night's gala at the Windsor Gardens. The Children's Hospital benefit?" I knew exactly which event she meant. I'd approved the venue donation myself, through one of my shell companies. "Yes." She fidgeted with her Cartier bracelet, another gift she thought came from her trust fund. "Listen, Mom, I know we usually do our monthly dinners on Thursdays, but could we reschedule? The gala is very exclusive, and your mother wouldn't fit in." I finished quietly. "It's not that." Her protest came too quickly. "It's just, these people, they're very particular. The Ashworths, the Montgomerys, they have certain expectations. You understand, right?" I understood perfectly. I understood how Elizabeth Ashworth had nearly lost her family's fortune before my investment group quietly bailed them out. I understood how the Montgomerys' social status depended entirely on their membership at my clubs and their residency in my properties. "Of course I understand." I smiled, thinking of the changes I'd recently approved for all my venues. "You need to maintain appearances." Relief flooded her perfect features. "Thanks, Mom. You're the best. Maybe we can do lunch next week at that little cafe you like." The little cafe was actually my first business acquisition, but Sophia assumed its understated charm and it was beneath her social circle standards. It was amazing how wealth could blind people to genuine value. "Actually," I said, checking my calendar, "I'll be at the gala tomorrow night." She nearly dropped her imported tea. "What? How?" "The property management company I work for handles Windsor Gardens events." Another careful misdirection. I own the entire Windsor Gardens complex, along with most of the luxury properties in that district. I'll be overseeing the staff. "Mom, no." Real panic flashed across her face. "You can't. The Ashworths, the Montgomerys, they can't see you working as a glorified event planner." The words hung between us like crystal chandeliers about to shatter. 20 years of building an empire in secret while raising her alone, reduced to glorified event planner. Interesting perspective. I kept my voice level. "Tell me, Sophia, have you ever wondered how you always get the best tables at the city's most exclusive restaurants? Or how your friends' membership applications to the Ocean View Club get approved so quickly when you recommend them?" "I earned my place in this circle," she said stiffly, "through charm and social grace." "Did you?" I pulled out my phone, showing her the previous week's billing statements from her favorite venues, all ultimately payable to my parent company. "Or have you been benefiting from connections you didn't know you had?" Color drained from her perfectly bronzed face. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that tomorrow night will be very illuminating." I stood smoothing my simple but exquisitely tailored suit. "For everyone." "Mom, please." She followed me to the door. "Whatever you're planning, don't embarrass me. The Ashworths, the Montgomerys, they're my whole world." I paused, studying my daughter's face. Somewhere between her Swiss finishing school and her social climbing, she'd forgotten the lessons I tried to teach her about authentic relationships and genuine worth. "Your whole world." I opened the door. "We'll see about that tomorrow night. Oh, and Sophia, do remember to be kind to the service staff. You never know who might own the roof over your head." She left in a flurry of designer perfume and confusion, probably already crafting excuses to her friends about her embarrassing mother. Let her worry. Tomorrow night would reveal more than just the true ownership of their favorite social venues. After all, I hadn't spent 20 years building an empire to have my own daughter tell me I wasn't good enough for her world. The Windsor Gardens Grand Ballroom sparkled with old money and new desperation. From my position near the service entrance, I watched Sophia work the room, air-kissing her way through Manhattan's elite as they congratulated themselves on their charitable generosity. "Everything is in place, Ms. Harrison," my chief of operations murmured. "The ownership announcements are ready, and the membership provisions have been processed." Excellent. I adjusted my understated channel dress, expensive but classic enough to pass as a department store find. "Have they noticed the changes to the member portraits yet?" "No, ma'am, though Mrs. Ashworth seems distressed about the new placement cards at her usual table." I smiled, remembering how I'd instructed the staff to rearrange the seating hierarchy. The premium tables near the windows, usually reserved for the highest society families, now hosted the hospital's actual medical staff and long-term donors. "Mother?" Sophia materialized beside me, her face tight with anxiety. "What are you wearing? I thought you were here to supervise the staff." Change of plans. I touched my simple pearl earrings, family heirlooms worth more than her friends' collective monthly shopping budgets. I received an invitation. "That's impossible," Madison Ashworth cut in, appearing with her mother, Elizabeth. "Mummy personally approved the guest list. No offense," she added with a practiced smirk. "But this is a closed-circle event." "Is it?" I checked my watch. "Speaking of circles, isn't your mother supposed to announce the new club ownership structure soon?" "Yes," Elizabeth brightened, finally meeting our mysterious benefactor. "Apparently, they own half the luxury venues in Manhattan." Sophia gripped her champagne flute. "Mother, perhaps you should." "Sophia, darling." Margaret Montgomery's voice carried across the marble floor. "You simply must come see." Oh, she stopped short, seeing me. I wasn't aware the event staff was joining the main party. "The staff isn't." I smiled pleasantly. "But I am." "Mom," Sophia whispered urgently, "please don't make a scene." "A scene?" Elizabeth Ashworth stepped closer, pearl necklace glinting. "Is there some issue here?" "No issue," I said, watching my security team take their positions. "Though you might want to check your club membership status before making assumptions." Elizabeth's face flushed. "I don't know who you think you are." Actually, my chief of operations interrupted smoothly. "That's exactly what tonight is about." He handed me the folder. "The documents you requested, Ms. Harrison. Or should I say, owner and CEO." The silence that followed was worth every year of hiding in plain sight. Sophia swayed slightly, while Madison's champagne glass slipped from her manicured fingers. The Windsor Gardens Grand Ballroom sparkled with old money and new desperation. From my position near the service entrance, I watched Sophia work the room, air-kissing her way through Manhattan's elite as they congratulated themselves on their charitable generosity. "Everything is in place, Ms. Harrison," my chief of operations murmured. "The ownership announcements are ready, and the membership revisions have been processed." Excellent. I adjusted my understated channel dress, expensive but classic enough to pass as a department store find. "Have they noticed the changes to the member portraits yet?" "No, ma'am, though Mrs. Ashworth seems distressed about the new placement cards at her usual table." I smiled, remembering how I'd instructed the staff to rearrange the seating hierarchy. The premium tables near the windows, usually reserved for the highest society families, now hosted the hospital's actual medical staff and long-term donors. "Mother?" Sophia materialized beside me, her face tight with anxiety. "What are you wearing? I thought you were here to supervise the staff." Change of plans. I touched my simple pearl earrings, family heirlooms worth more than her friends' collective monthly shopping budgets. I received an invitation. "That's impossible," Madison Ashworth cut in, appearing with her mother, Elizabeth. "Mummy personally approved the guest list." No offense, she added with a practiced smirk. "But this is a closed-circle event." "Is it?" I checked my watch. "Speaking of circles, isn't your mother supposed to announce the new club ownership structure soon?" "Yes," Elizabeth brightened, finally meeting our mysterious benefactor. "Apparently, they own half the luxury venues in Manhattan." Sophia gripped her champagne flute. "Mother, perhaps you should." "Sophia, Darling. Margaret Montgomery's voice carried across the marble floor. You simply must come see. Oh, she stopped short seeing me. I wasn't aware the event staff was joining the main party. The staff isn't. I smiled pleasantly. But I am. Mom, Sophia whispered urgently, please don't make a scene. A scene. Elizabeth Ashworth stepped closer, pearl necklace glinting. Is there some issue here? No issue, I said, watching my security team take their positions. Though you might want to check your club membership status before making assumptions. Elizabeth's face flushed. I don't know who you think you are. Actually, my chief of operations interrupted smoothly. That's exactly what tonight is about. He handed me a folder. The documents you requested, Ms. Harrison. Or should I say, owner and CEO. The silence that followed was worth every year of hiding in plain sight. Sophia swayed slightly, while Madison's champagne glass slipped from her manicured fingers. Owner? Elizabeth choked out. But you're... The help? I opened the folder, extracting membership records. It's amazing what you learn about people's character when they think you're beneath them. Like hosting unauthorized private parties. I looked pointedly at Margaret. Or running unauthorized credit tabs. My gaze shifted to Elizabeth. You can't prove anything, Margaret sputtered, but her designer clutch trembled in her hands. Actually, I can. I nodded to my team, who began distributing documents throughout the ballroom. 5 years of documented violations, all collected while you were too busy judging people's worth by their social connections. Sophie grabbed a document, her hands shaking as she read. Mom, you want everything? The Windsor Gardens, the Ocean View Club, the Grand Plaza. Among other things, I turned to address the growing crowd of stunned socialites. Effective immediately, all membership structures are being revised based on actual contributions to the community, not family names or bank accounts. You can't do this. Margaret's voice rose hysterically. Do you know who we are? I know exactly who you are. I pulled out another document. Just as I know who approved your mortgages, your business loans, and your children's trust funds. The room erupted in chaos. Society matrons clutched their pearls, watching their carefully constructed social hierarchy crumble. Madison disappeared into the crowd, leaving Sophia standing alone, staring at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Why? She whispered. All these years. Because I wanted you to develop your own character, not inherit mine. I stepped closer. Because I needed to see who you become when you thought you had nothing but your own merit. And her voice cracked. And now I know. I handed her a final document, a list of every time she'd apologized for me, hidden me, or been embarrassed by my presence. You're my daughter, Sophia, but you've forgotten the most important lesson I tried to teach you. Which is, that true class isn't about who you exclude. I gestured to the service staff who were now watching openly. It's about who you choose to include. The weight of her behavior over the years seemed to hit her all at once. The dismissive treatment of staff, the shame over her working-class mother, the desperate pursuit of social approval at any cost. What happens now? She asked quietly. That depends on you. I straightened her designer dress. Another gift she'd never known came from me. These venues need people who understand both privilege and humility. The question is, are you ready to learn both? She looked around the ballroom. At her friends scrambling to save their social status, at Madison arguing with her disgraced mother, at the staff who no longer hid their knowing smiles. Teach me, she said finally, from the beginning, no shortcuts. Good. I handed her a new business card, entry-level event coordinator, her name only. Because tomorrow, you start learning what it really means to build something worthwhile. 6 months later, I reviewed the latest community outreach reports from my recently rebranded venues. The Windsor Gardens had transformed from an exclusive social club into a thriving cultural center, hosting everything from local art exhibitions to educational programs. Ms. Harrison, my assistant buzzed. Your daughter is here with the new charitable initiative proposals. Sophia entered, dressed in a simple but elegant outfit, no designer labels in sight. She carried a stack of files and a genuine smile that had replaced her former society smirk. The Children's Hospital wants to expand their weekly art therapy sessions, she said, sitting down. And the scholarship committee needs final approval for the summer program. I studied my daughter, not the artificial socialite she'd once been. but the compassionate woman emerging from beneath years of superficial values. Starting over as an event coordinator had humbled her in ways I hadn't expected. "How's Madison?" I asked, though our management team had already reported the Ashworth's latest attempts to regain their premium memberships. Still trying to understand why money can't fix everything. Sophia shook her head. She offered to put in a good word with her mother's friends if I helped restore their old privileges. And I told her that integrity isn't for sale. A small smile played at her lips, something I learned from watching a certain property manager build an empire on principles instead of pretense. The transformation had been remarkable. After the gala revelation, most of Sophia's social circle had vanished along with their exclusive access. But new relationships had blossomed, particularly with the staff members she'd once overlooked, who now worked alongside her in creating meaningful community programs. "The service team is organizing a fundraiser," she said, her eyes bright with genuine enthusiasm. "Maria from the kitchen staff. Her granddaughter needs heart surgery. We're converting the grand ballroom into a benefit dinner space." Pride warmed my chest. "And the former premium members? They're welcome to attend at the standard ticket price, just like everyone else." She straightened in her chair. "Though they'll have to follow the new dress code. No designer labels, no jewelry over $5,000. We want the focus on the cause, not the clothes." Speaking of causes, I pulled out a proposal. "What do you think about converting the Ocean View Club's private dining rooms into a culinary training program for underprivileged youth?" Her face lit up. "Actually, I've been working on something similar with the kitchen staff. They've offered to teach traditional family recipes alongside professional techniques." Before I could respond, my assistant buzzed again. "The hospital board members are here for the tour." We stood together, mother and daughter, now aligned in purpose rather than divided by pretense. "Ready to show them how we've reimagined the space?" I asked. "Ready to show them how we've reimagined everything," she replied, opening the door with confidence rather than condescension. The hospital administrators entered, a mix of doctors, nurses, and board members, their practical clothes a stark contrast to the former Crystal and Champagne crowd. "Welcome to the new Windsor Gardens," Sophie said warmly, her tone genuine rather than practiced, "where everyone enters through the front door and value is measured by contribution rather than connection." As she led the tour, I watched her interact with staff members by name, discussing their families and listening to their suggestions. The artificial barriers between service and served had dissolved, replaced by authentic community. "Your daughter," my chief of operations observed quietly, "she's become quite different from the young woman who used to hide you from her friends." "She's become herself," I corrected. "Sometimes people need to lose their artificial world to find their authentic worth." Later, as we reviewed the day's reports in my office, Sophia paused thoughtfully. "Mom, thank you. Not just for the empire you built, but for caring enough to let me fail at being someone I never really was." "The best lessons," I replied, "often come from our most uncomfortable moments." She nodded, understanding now what I tried to teach her all along, that true society isn't about excluding others, but about creating spaces where everyone can belong. As she left to meet with the fundraising team, I thought about legacy, not the kind measured in square footage or social status, but the kind built through transformed lives and authentic connections. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give our children is the opportunity to discover that real worth isn't inherited or acquired. It's earned through the way we treat others, regardless of their perceived status.